Well, good morning and thank you. So indeed, after this initial discussion of democracy from a people's perspective, I will try to give the technology perspective for the people. So I've been around for quite some time, and actually I was there when the web started. And when it started, actually it only had documents and hyperlinks, that's all. So 30 years ago, exactly 30 years ago, in 1993, I started a company. The name of the company was Ubique, for everywhere. And the mission of Ubique was bringing people to the web. And boy, did we succeed in bringing people to the web. Well, not us, but we did. The web has been quite successful. And actually what Ubique did, it offered the first social network in 2D metaverse. In 1995, we launched our product Virtual Places. It was 10 years before Facebook and 30 years before Meta. So business-wise, it's not always the best thing to be ahead of your time. It's good to tell your grandchildren, but I can't complain, but still we were a bit ahead of our time. And actually, this is sort of a warning about what I'm going to talk. If we deduce from this forward, and maybe what I'm going to talk about today is 10, 20, maybe 30 years ahead of its time, but let's hope not that long. So we did have, social networking and metaverse. I sold the company, bought it back, sold it again, and fast forward to 8 years ago, I was invited to Davos to talk about my biology work, but I couldn't resist talking about the internet because, I was embarrassed at what happened during my absence for 20-some years. And the basic claim I made was that the internet, unlike what we hoped in the 90s, that it will become a thriving place for independent communities that flourish independently and in an autonomous way all around the world, it became a feudal system where we have feudal lords that have total control. So when we are all, most of us are citizens in democracies, but when we enter through a phone into the digital world, we almost always enter feudal systems, where there's a feudal lord that has the legislative, judicial, and executive powers over us. We have no civil rights, and we're basically being manipulated and exploited without remuneration, etc., etc., etc. So after this talk in Davos, where I sort of said, things are bad, since then I started investing more and more of my time in trying to fix what is bad. And that's basically the focus of my research, full-time research for the last several years. And I should say, I must confess that my conclusion is that the main culprit is not the people, not the politics, not the economy, but actually computer science. Computer science has not delivered the necessary foundations for different behavior, and that's been the focus of my work. So let me give you just a glimpse of what my students, my colleagues, and I have been working for the last several years. So first of all, it's important to understand that, so the goal was to try to bring the age of enlightenment after the feudal age at which we're in on the internet. And what we should understand is first that the existing systems we have today, almost all of them are just autocracies. We have someone who controls everything, and we are at their mercy. There's been a revolution, which has been talked about in the other room, of let's see, does it work? Yeah, of peer-to-peer blockchain technologies federated, which is trying to change things for the better. So instead of a single feudal lord, there are many smaller lords that control large server farms, and the power is more distributed, like in Bitcoin or Ethereum or other blockchain technologies. But still, there are the people in power up there, and there are the citizens or the plurality of people below. And the main thing that's happening in these technologies is major transfer of wealth from the people below to the few above. And that's what's currently happening. So it's a bit better than a single autocratic system, but not much better. And what we've been working on for the last several years is on a third alternative to the digital world, which we call grassroots systems. So as you can see, it's almost the same, except the people above do not exist anymore. So there are no third parties that control, exploit our information, manipulate, or extract value or seek rent from us. And the question is, the goal is to try to reconstruct essentially the entire digital realm, but this time within this, with this architecture. All the applications that we have, everything we can do today on the smartphones, but without going to third parties, just all of us talking to each other with our smartphones. And if you think it's a strange idea, I mean, as I said, I've been around for quite some time. And 30 years ago, when we started work on the internet, we used the most high-performance Sun microsystem workstations. This phone, which is okay, is hundreds and thousands of times more powerful, compute-wise, memory-wise, networking-wise, than the Sun workstations that started the internet before. So there's no reason on earth why technology-wise our smartphones cannot operate independently of third-party servers. They're powerful enough memory, enough computing, enough networking. We don't need them. Just computer science has not delivered the foundations to do that. So what are these foundations? First of all, they should support egalitarian, self-governed, sovereign digital communities, which could reflect earthly communities. And there are three types of applications that we're looking at within this architecture. Grassroots social networking, grassroots cryptocurrencies, digital economy, and grassroots democratic governance, all within this framework. So no third parties, just us, just real people with their computing devices. So let me just mention briefly what they are. Grassroots social networking, okay, maybe before I go through this, as I said, this is foundational work. So the product of the last years of research is a thick pile of papers, scientific papers, and each of them starts by introduction, and then definition, theorem, proof, definition, theorem, proof. So the product of our research in this is all mathematical foundations. I don't have software to sell. We haven't developed yet anything. We've constructed the mathematical foundations for this third architecture. So that's the current state of things. As I said, maybe it's a decade ahead of its time, but that's where we are. So we have a design for grassroots social networking in which they're smartphone-based. People retain ownership and control of their social graph. So I control the social graph of who I talk to in my phone. It's not a third-party object. All personal information is here, and authored content remains under my full ownership and control, and there's no third-party control of anything. On top of that, we are working on, well, all these are papers, and if you look my name on the internet, Google my name with the word grassroots, you'll find all these scientific papers out there, as well as a couple of talks, scientific talks. Grassroots cryptocurrencies are an alternative to what's happening in this other room, to Bitcoin and Ethereum, and they're designed to support a digital economy, grassroots digital economy that can form without initial capital or external credit. So it's ideally suited for deprived community, global south. Other deprived communities which are not benefiting from the high-tech revolution are being exploited by the high-tech revolution or the internet revolution. Communities that are high on family and community trust and low on capital, because grassroots cryptocurrencies emerge by creating liquidity out of mutual trust. Basically, that's sort of the core concept. And they could also help banking the unbanked. So all these are highly important and noble goals, and I believe that grassroots cryptocurrencies can provide all these. And the third thing, which was the initial goal, the original goal, was this grassroots, eventually global digital democracy, is the next layer in this architecture and applications. And we have a concept, which is, this one has not been published yet. Hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll have a draft out there. I work with colleagues at Harvard and Ben-Gurion University. And the concept is grassroots federated assemblies. So those who know about citizens' assemblies, This is sort of the digital counterpart, except it's not a single one. It's a complete hierarchy of federated assemblies. So imagine we spoke about grassroots democracy and how important it is to start locally. So imagine local communities that have their own assemblies that federate and create by sortition their assemblies and their assemblies. So this eventually offers a scalable architecture for digital governance at any level, city, states, EU, and even global. And that's the mathematical foundations we're working on scalable democratic governance for the entire digital realm. So I think I have another couple of minutes. So normally I get questions from the audience. So if there is something really urgent that someone wants to ask, I'll use this minute. And if not, I'll just say that this is foundational computer science research. Hopefully, it will convert into applications. The one problem that I haven't solved yet, and that's why I'm enjoying doing this research and not yet jumping into the cold water of raising money and building it, is because I don't have yet the right business model or operational model to do that. For me, anybody who joined me from the beginning, I said, beware, this is not a project you're going to make money from, okay? That's the assumption. You join this not to make money. So this should be in a second, this should be a non-for-profit, public good foundations on top of which an economy could emerge. Yes, the question?
You don't want to make money, which is fine, but you need to make those cheap.
Yes. Okay, so the question, when we started the project and said, well, smartphones, you need powerful smartphones, etc. But I think the sad truth today is that more people on Earth have smartphones than people that have food. So I think smartphone penetration is extremely high everywhere, including third world countries.
Due to the feudalitarians, unfortunately.
Due to what?
The feudalitarians, which are profiting from the economy of scale.
Yeah. I'm not saying that technology is, I'm not a Luddite, so I don't say destroy your smartphones. I say use the smartphones, but not just dumb terminal to third parties.
I just want to say that's the problem, I think, a big one. Also rationalizing away the government. You didn't mention government, but we need social stability somehow and local.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not, just to clarify, I'm not trying to revolutionize yet earthly democracies. I'm trying to offer an alternative architecture for the digital world. Now, I believe that the digital world is causing so much harm and damage now to the real world. I mean, democracies are hampered by power being taken from citizens and local communities. So the first thing is to try to reverse the trend in the digital world, and then maybe there will be also positive impact in the physical world. So I think I've just completed my time. Thank you very much for your attention, and see you in 10, 20 years when this is realized.